I think actually it's a good question, Bill. It has two impacts. One is it does undermine the credibility of some of the witnesses if they're shown to be coordinating what they were going to say to the government and in these hearings. You want an impeachment inquiry to be as open and transparent as possible. And this goes to the second point, because you're trying to persuade both the American people and the United States Senate that this is not a partisan affair. The founders did not want impeachment to be used as a partisan political tool by one out-of-power party to attack a sitting president. So you ought to have, if you're the House, a process that's as open and credible and nonpartisan as possible.
Okay. You've been reading the transcripts, or the partial transcripts that have been released, right? I mean, you see the back and forth. You can see how the left is painting it one way and the Republicans are painting it another. And I wonder if next week we just go round and round on this. Now, what Democrats are going to do, they're going to make the case that he did this and he did that. And Republicans are going to argue the lethal aid was still distributed. If you wanted lethal aid to fight back on Russian tanks, the money was there, the Javelin weaponry was already delivered to Ukraine. And Adam Schiff's going to come back and say the most important facts are largely not contested. And I believe when I heard that comment from him 2 days ago, what he's talking about is the whole Biden matter. So then be as impartial as possible now. When you hear that, do you think Democrats will have something on him when it comes to that aspect?
So I think they could say, we have evidence. Read the transcript of the call. Read the transcripts of the interviews that we've had with career Foreign Service and National Security Council officials. And we believe what the president did was he tried to trade military assistance for an investigation.
It's Friday, everybody.
I think that is a question that the whole House and the American people and the Senate have to judge whether that actually happened, because as you just mentioned, Bill, there are doubts about whether it actually took place. But the bigger question is this really a high crime and misdemeanor? Is this really something that it's worth putting the country through to remove a president rather than just going into the November elections and letting the people make their judgment, render their verdict on whether this is serious or not?
Last question, John. Quick answer on this. You heard the president talk about releasing the transcript of the first phone call. Do you think they should do that? I mean, none of us know what is in that phone call. They do. Is that advisable?
Normally, I'd want the president to protect all the communications with foreign leaders to make sure that future presidents conduct diplomacy. But I think he's already crossed that Rubicon because he already released a transcript of one of his phone calls. I think releasing the other one would be important to provide context for any claim that he's making that he didn't actually try to engage in this kind of political horse trading to try to get an investigation into the Bidens.
John, thank you. John Yoo from California today. Nice to have you back here, and we'll see what we get next week. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Bill.